The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
One life, live it up, cause we got one life. One life, live it up, cause we got one life. One life, live it up, cause you don't get it twice. One life, live it up, cause you don't get it twice.
Hello and welcome to another World Cup edition of Soccer to the Max. As the group stage is finally in the books, it's over. We know who all made it to the round of 16. And we get to talk about what happened in Group G and H to finish this one off. I'm your host, Sean Garmer, and here with me is Mr. Erik Watkins.
Okay, so basically, two trains left the station 700 miles apart. One was going 80 miles an hour, the other was going 90 miles an hour. And Japan figured out faster when the two trains would meet. I see what's going on.
You could definitely say that there's an advantage there. All of the math aside. Oh, this is the wrong show for that. I did not do that great at math in school. But, yeah, Rachel is not here with us on this one. She had prior commitment. Well, really, we just couldn't do it as early as she needed to, so she had something else she needed to do afterwards. But, all right, we'll get through this, and lucky for us and everybody else watching, maybe they don't need a break, but I feel like a one-day break is nice right now. It's going to feel weird at work to not have a game to watch, but I'm hoping Saturday things go well and can watch the two games there, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, this certainly was jubilation for a lot of people where I work because, work with a lot of Colombians. And for, the majority of the game, because Colombia was having a hard time scoring until Poland put in the goal in the 60th minute that would wind up being the only goal of that game. Everybody was biting their nails because it meant Colombia was not going through at that point. And finally the Poland goal goes through. Colombia is through right then. And sadly, however, it wouldn't go so well for their opponent, Senegal, because then Yeti Mina puts in the header in around the 74th, 75th minute, and Colombia winds up winning the group outright, and Japan win for the first time ever, even though this was technically the first time it was ever used as a tiebreaker. Japan go through because of the FIFA Fair Play tiebreaker, which is about the fifth tiebreaker down the line. They were even on pretty much everything else. On everything else until then. For me, I think the fair play is better than the drawing of lots. But some people disagree, obviously.
I mean, I completely agree. I also heard, okay, who had better time of possession or something along those lines. But yeah, that is. I think you're still keeping an element of deciding everything on the pitch. Because as you said with the list of tiebreakers, even on points, number one, even on goal difference, number two, even on goals scored, number three, even on head-to-head, number four. So, fair play. All right, who picked up the fewest cards? You go through. I'm personally fine with that.
I mean, technically it is subjective, right? Because it's subjected to the certain referee who decided to give or not give a yellow card to a player.
True. There is subjectivity, But now I know this doesn't come into play for yellows, but since reds are much harsher on the fair play, -3 points compared to -1, a little bit of that subjectivity is taken away because red cards, straight reds, can be reviewed by VAR.
Yeah, and also Colombia would have had one of the worst fair plays, I'm guessing, at that point, because they're I think they're the only ones, aside from Russia, to get a player sent off. So
yes, they would have been right around in the -6 range.
right.
I forget.
I think Panama might have been the only other that was that low. I mean, they weren't the only game that could have been decided on fair play. England and Belgium could have been, but Belgium wound up scoring the goal that separated them. Plus, also, I think Belgium got like 3 cards in the game against England, so their fair play rating kept going down.
Yeah, England came in with that advantage, and England apparently didn't get the memo of, hey, if you're not going to score and give a damn, don't give up one either.
Technically, they had chances. I mean, let's not act like England didn't go out there. And Rashford had that one that was right in front of goal, and Courtois punches it over, and he had another one that he hit wide. I mean, it's not like England just went out there. And I mean, yes, the first half they did have times where they were playing around and the fans were booing because they didn't do a whole lot. But in the second half, I felt like England tried a little bit more. Of course, after Belgium scored, it seemed that they tried to turn it on because they realized what would happen. But honestly, England might have been playing a little bit to the odds because they wound up in the better side of the bracket.
Yeah, which screwed up my bracket. Thank you very much.
Oh, it didn't for me. That was, I think, one of the few round of 16 matches that I actually had correct. So
yeah, that was 2 of them that I had wrong. Belgium doesn't score that goal, or England equalizes. I had England beating Japan. I had Belgium beating Colombia. Bish bash bosh. But no! Somebody else had to pull another West Germany, Austria 82 and screw that up for me. God, I would have been booing and throwing fake pound notes right on the pitch with everybody else.
Yeah, the Japan technically screwed up the other side of the final because I think I actually had Senegal upsetting Belgium. So that kind of screwed that up too. But, I mean, to be fair, Senegal... so what did you think of the... And now Senegal played better in the first half.
They did.
Colombia went on a lot more in the second half. Falcao missed a few headers and whatnot. There wasn't a ton of chances, but what did you think of the Mane penalty and then VAR says no penalty?
I mean, it was one of those to where I'm gonna be honest, with the angles that I saw in that replay, it didn't really look like a penalty to me. I can see from where the ref was why he would call it, because it's not really like the best of best angles, but then looking at it from the cameras that VAR got to see, I think they got it right in overturning it.
Yeah, he does take away the ball first. I mean, he clearly takes down Mane as well with the other part of his knee. But that's that subjectivity again with the referee, right? Because we've seen certain referees go with the whole, oh, he took the ball, but he also took the man. And I think we also have to remember where that comes into play. That comes into play when you go straight behind the guy. If you're straight behind the player, then it doesn't matter if you took the ball first. If you actually try to go at an angle and take the ball, then that comes into play. As long as you're not barreling through somebody from behind to take the ball, then usually you get the benefit of the doubt of actually, making a good challenge, being a defender and taking the ball there. But, honestly, it's the 17th minute. There's still a lot of time left in the game. Senegal didn't have a lot of chances. Again, they played well. They defended well. It's just they were a bit unlucky, and it's sad to see that first time since 1982 there will not be an African team in the round of 16.
Now, wasn't 82 the year that the African nations protested and boycotted? Pretty sure it was.
Well, the FIFA results thing says that it is the first time since 1982.
Right, and I'm just saying, I was like, okay, it's the first time since 82 you don't have an African team in the round of 16, and I'm like, yes, because 82, and I'm looking this up as I speak, that year the African nations boycotted in protestation of the allotment of spots with the expanded World Cup to 24 teams. I'm going to make sure I have this correct before I keep going, but that rang in my mind.
1982 has Cameroon in it.
Okay.
It also has Algeria in it.
Okay.
Algeria was the one that suffered from the West Germany-Austria footy game. Yeah. So, yeah, 1982 was the last time because Algeria would have gone through had Germany and Austria not played that game.
Aha.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute, because it was one of those where it created a rule that you had to play a qualification match because Israel pretty much got a bye to the World Cup. Yeah, it was some craziness.
And Cameroon drew all three of their games. And technically, I think advanced on... They didn't advance. Italy advanced because they had a goal scored, one more than Cameroon. So, two African teams that had really close chances to get through, but they didn't. So.
Yeah, and it's a shame. Good for me because I honestly didn't have any teams advancing, but it does suck, especially in the case of Nigeria and Senegal, because they were playing some very, very entertaining football for most of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I had both Nigeria and Senegal going through, and both of them got to the final day and got outdone by late goals, sadly. So it's very... It sucks because they're always... very celebratory. They're dancing. They're having a good time, but they also play seriously. I mean, I think Senegal's much better, obviously, more mature, more veterans on that team. They play better, but yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how things go for them going forward. But yeah, Colombia goes through, and Japan lucks out due to the fair play. Honestly, Japan seemed like that's the route they were taking because either that or maybe they assumed Poland would just, not try very hard, considering they were already eliminated because they rotated and I think they took out all four of their goal scorers and another player and rested 5 guys and decided to play 5 others instead of putting out the starting folk. So... they had a lot more to play for than, say, Belgium and England, where both of those teams rotated because they knew they were both qualified. It was really just a matter of seeding. That one you kind of understand. But the Japan one was kind of weird.
Yeah. I thought because I know Japan, their manager has only been managing the team for not even 3 months.
Right.
But even then you think, hey... this is a pretty big game. Hey, we still have a shot of going through. I questioned a lot of those decisions, and I'm like, okay, if this bites them, this bites them, and it almost did.
Yeah, I mean, Japan wound up unlucky in this one, whereas, England kind of lucked out, Japan did not, where they wound up on the, the tougher side of the bracket, you would say on paper, because they didn't really go out there and truly try to, get a win or ensure the draw or whatever you like there. I mean, yeah, Colombia won and certainly got the better end of it. I mean, the thing is, too, I think Japan might be saying, well, look, we got a tough task ahead of us regardless, right? England and or Belgium, neither one of those teams are, something you would consider a team you maybe feel confident against. So they might have thought, well, who cares? If we happen to get by one of those teams, then we'll see how it goes from there. Let's just make sure everybody's ready to go for whatever team it is. I can kind of understand that strategy too, I guess. Because, it doesn't matter what side of the bracket you're on. If you don't get past that first round of 16 game, then who cares, right?
Right. And I was, in a way, somewhat right, somewhat wrong. It was after the African nations boycotted in '66, just to clarify.
See? You knew there was some kind of boycott somewhere.
Yeah, I know. It was like, hey, wait a minute. I knew there was something somewhere in the history of the World Cup annals, and I was right.
I mean, obviously, congrats to Belgium on winning and getting all 9 points. That's a feat in itself. I mean, considering the group they're in, I guess maybe not for the other two, but
no, not really. And I mean, look, I'm not even going to make a waffle joke because the justice to screwing up my bracket was served with Batshuayi's, let's just say, botched goal celebration.
Yeah.
Oh, physics.
Certainly.
Come on now.
Anajai, though, with a cracker of a goal. Got to give him credit for that. That was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Kudos to him, but still, got me mad.
Yeah, for what was kind of a sort of, okay, uneventful, Group G, Group H elimination days, we did have the much more eventful Group F and Group E elimination days that were the previous day, which, I fell asleep and I was like, well, whatever. We get an off day on Friday. Let's just talk about both, or all four groups in one show. Brazil basically just needed to avoid losing in order to ensure that they went through.
Check.
Sort of the same was for everybody else, right? Switzerland, as long as they drew, they were going to come through as well against the already eliminated Costa Rica, even though Costa Rica did not play like it at all. They were certainly in there to try to get the win at the end. Also, forgot to mention, congrats to Panama for getting another goal in the World Cup. So they've officially scored 2 goals in their World Cup history now. But
so close to getting a point. I felt that.
I really wanted them to win against Tunisia, but to be fair, Tunisia's been played much better.
Well, I wanted them to get a draw because Egypt and Panama are the only 2 teams in the tournament to not earn at least a single point.
Right.
That kind of made me sad. And Panama had a chance to make Egypt all on that island, but nah.
We certainly don't owe Rachel any kind of dinner, though. So we dodged that one.
And my cookies are safe, too, which is a good thing.
Your cookies are certainly safe right there as well. I think Brazil, they went out there. Unfortunate for Marcelo, who got hurt pretty early. But they kept going at Stojkovic. Gabriel Jesus, Neymar had a few as well. Paulinho, of course, wound up with the goal. Nifty little chip over the keeper as well to get that one in there. Fantastic goal by him. And Mitrovic then got that. He almost had a header. The dude's been killer on headers, but Thiago Silva was one better on the header, of course. The man for PSG. scored. Brazil wins 2-0. They get through. They get their 7 points. They're leading the group. And yeah.
And it's good for Brazil because they weren't expected to be perfect, which that kind of helped. But now that they're in the knockout round, they have a teeny bit less pressure. They got over that first hurdle, qualifying to the knockout stage. And quite honestly, with a very thrilling round of 16 match on order. So you never know. I think this is that last boost. They've exercised a couple of demons. Some were exercised for them. So I think Seleção is going to be a bit more relaxed.
Yeah, I think they're ready for that game. Considering what happened in Mexico in their game against Sweden.
Whew.
Oh, boy. I mean, to be fair, when you get the World Cup's fastest yellow card ever, 13 seconds in, for elbowing someone, doesn't seem like it's going to be your day.
Yeah, and I'm thinking my day is bad because I was dealing with the repercussions from a flat tire, and I was at the tire shop, and thankfully they had the match on there. But 13 seconds? Man, I'm still in the beer line at 13 seconds. Come on.
People are probably like not even realizing that the game has started 13 seconds in. Ochoa got the unfortunate, he was technically actually inside his box, but the referee couldn't see, so he whistled him. He was outside for handling the ball, and Forsberg almost freaking scored. He had to make a heck of a save on that, so two unfortunate things for Mexico. What did you think about the Chicharito handball? To me, that looked like a penalty.
I don't know, because in seeing that replay, it's one of those 50-50 calls because his arm wasn't, in my mind, considered to be in an unnatural position.
But he was out.
It was out, but if you see him trying to get to the ball and make a play on the ball, when you're making a play on the ball like that, your hands are naturally going to be out. They weren't like they were up in the air, or at least at the level of his shoulder. They were down around near his midsection, and then it went ball to hand. So, to me, that was no penalty. That was just ball to hand.
It's okay. A ball to hand will wind up being one of the goals against Mexico, so it's fine. Anyway, karma works both ways. Vela missed that shot that could have gone in. Layun also missed. Chucky Lozano missed. But then Sweden just turned it on, bro, and they didn't look back. The penalty that wasn't given before, Hector Moreno definitely got a penalty, which helped. What about the Grand Chris with that? The defender hitting penalties better than Messi. I mean, what's up with that?
That was just insane. It wasn't really just there were insane moments for things like penalties, and let's say there was another own goal in that one too. So I'm just like, really? You see the ball trickle into the back of the net. Just like, wow.
That was the best. Was the third goal. Just Nedson Alvarez just has it pop off his arm and into the net.
Yes,
his own net.
Yeah, it's just like that's just a reminder that the curse exists, if you really think about it. It's like, oh, you're thinking you're all big and bad. Oh, you're going to go through, but aha!
Well, no bigger curse, apparently, though, than the World Cup winning curse for the next World Cup, because Germany becomes the fourth out of the last 5 World Cup champions to not advance out of the group stage after winning the World Cup the previous time.
Mm-hmm.
Germany, honestly, and this is the first time since 1938 that they had been knocked out in the first round. So,
first time since 38 that they've been knocked out of the first round, and that was a knockout tournament in 38. Right. First time they've been knocked out in the group stage when the first round was a group stage ever. First time they've lost 2 group stage matches ever. And the first time that Germany has not made the last 8 of a World Cup since 1954.
Yeah.
This is arguably their worst World Cup ever. Let's just say it.
A lot of history there. Neuer almost gave up a goal really early. Coughed up a free kick. I mean, you could say VAR. Mark Geiger might have helped out Mexico a little bit with the first goal that Young Guang scores, but he was onside, so
he was.
He made the right call.
He did. So everybody can say, "Oh, CONCACAF gonna CONCACAF." It's like, well, when you've got,
it's the right call. I mean,
yeah, it's the right call, and it's not like any of the other teams were doing us any favors. So it's like, hey, the man made the right decision.
But for me, the biggest thing I kept seeing was Germany the same way they'd been beaten the other 2 games. Well, I mean, granted, yeah, they beat Sweden at the end, but they really shouldn't have. No. And they kept getting counterattacked. How many times did Korea go on the offensive? They just had no connection in the final third. And, I mean, it was on a set piece that they finally got the goal, and then, of course, Min with Neuer messing up things when he's going forward because he has to at that point. Min gets the goal to seal everything, but honestly, I mean, you played 2 games. You've been beaten the same way each time. I get that they needed the goal or whatever, but you're being a bit too offensive without organization, and it's the same thing. Like, okay, well, you got lucky that Korea just wasn't as good as other teams, as Mexico and Sweden are, or that could have been even more.
Right. And the thing, especially with the counterattack, especially being offensive, I get that in certain times when, yes, it's called for, but especially Germany, with how they practice, their tactics, their type of players, their overall system, you still have to remember your positions. Every time a team countered, Germany did not get back into position. That's how they kept getting burned. South Korea just did that same thing. They looked at Mexico, they looked at Sweden, said, hey, if we counter the right way, they're going to take too long to get back into their shape defensively. We can exploit that.
No, exactly. They did a great job of it. Just, again, lucky for Germany to have lasted as long as they did, because Korea just couldn't get anything in the final third, and honestly, it seemed appropriate. They were not really playing with enough desperation, I think. They were, and then they got too desperate towards the end. We're just, okay, we were trying to pass it into the goal for the first 80 minutes. Then all of a sudden, oh my God, let's start shooting from everywhere. And it's like, no, that's not going to work. You've at least been almost getting to it previously. But I think you got to give Korea a lot of credit, the Korean goalkeeper a lot of credit. He made some fantastic saves as well to keep it 0 for Germany. So I don't think you should just put it all on Germany. Korea did a lot, at least goalkeeper-wise. And I forgot to mention, Jean Sommer, unlucky on the penalty by Brian Ruiz to have it go off his head and in the goal, but he also made some fantastic saves in that game. against Costa Rica. Allison had the one where he put his arm out and then it hit Thiago Silva, luckily. But still, to be able to stretch his arm out to make the save was fantastic too. I wanted to mention those before we got out of there, but yeah, just Germany they just had a terrible tournament, and I never felt like this was certainly not the Germany that you saw at the Confed Cup with the B team.
Nope.
This was not the Germany that won the World Cup. This felt like a Germany that kind of thought, all right, even after they got shocked at Mexico, great. You come back and get the out of nowhere, shouldn't have happened win against Sweden, and then you don't play like you earn that shot. You know, like you want to go out there and go, okay, we were given the lifeline, let's go for it. Especially playing against a team that's already been eliminated. This isn't like Argentina where they had to play Nigeria. Nigeria is trying to win too because they're trying to get to the next round. You know, that was really having to fight, and Argentina just happened to have Marcos Rojo make the shot to have it go in.
The shot heard around the world, basically.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like Germany knew that a draw wasn't going to be enough for them, because of the goal difference and all that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, a draw would have been enough towards once the third Sweden goal went in, but they couldn't even get that. Because remember, I think the first Korean goal went in before the third before the third Sweden goal.
Yes, so, it was first Korean goal, then just within about a minute or so, the third Sweden goal, which was the own goal. Right. Then the mishap to where the second Korean goal went in. So it was a span of about 5-10 minutes at the absolute most where Germany was just done.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is even then they had the ability. That team just wasn't good enough, and good on Korea to get a win, to go out with a win, and Mexico just lucked out. I don't blame them for going to celebrate at the Korean consulate and all that stuff. They literally lucked out into the round of 16. They certainly did not luck into a great match over Brazil, but the last time they played each other, that was a fantastic encounter. The thing is, I think this is a different Neymar, much different Coutinho, obviously, as well, a much different Brazil team. I wouldn't be surprised if Mexico... now, Mexico plays Brazil well normally, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see a little bit more of the Sweden game against Brazil this time around.
And especially for Juan Carlos Osorio, everybody that talked about him being a professor, everybody talked about him being the tinker. I would point to this and said, see, I finally listened to you, and I put the same starting 11 2 matches in a row. Look what happened. Leave me alone.
Right? That's what he's going to say, but honestly, I think they imploded within themselves. At that point, Sweden wanted it more. Sweden knew they had to go out there and score goals. And Sweden did that.
Yeah, they did. And I put full credit to Sweden because they showed their resilience even going back to that game against Germany. It's a team to where they had their own reputation. It's like, oh, well, there's no Zlatan, and there's this, and there's that. And they wanted to say, hey, we can win, and we can perform without him. And they did that in spades.
Yeah, they did. I think that's a testament to Sweden. And now they have a winnable game against Switzerland. Sweden could wind up in the final 8. And Switzerland could also wind up in the final 8. They're a really good team. They showed it again against Costa Rica, but I think that says a lot about this World Cup. Poland winds up being one of the, I think, still the only European team not to make it out of the. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, they were the only European team not to make it. Then that group of 5, Colombia, Japan get through there. Everybody else do what they had to do, and now you get some monster matchups to start off on Saturday. You get France and Argentina. Talk about history there. Two huge teams, both former World Cup winners. And, you know, if Maradona had a heart attack during the Nigeria game, I don't think he wants to watch this one. Though, honestly, the way France have played, Argentina could win this one. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, they easily could. Very easily could, because France, was uninspired. And not to mention, with the likes of a team like Poland out, team like Germany out, some of your main European powers being the only two that didn't make it, it's like, this is wide open. And it's another bit of an interesting statistic. Everybody talked about in 2014 how Germany became the first European team to win a cup on American soil, doing it in Brazil. Well, you haven't had a South American team win a cup on European soil since '62. So you're looking at teams like Argentina and Brazil, even Uruguay. It's like, hey, we're in a position where we can get some very sweet revenge of our own. Let's go.
Yeah, but aside from Colombia, you're going to have a lot of the South American teams have to knock each other out, which that also kind of sucks on that end of trying to make sure you do have one. But
I mean, it does, but if they knock each other out, all the better, because they're knocking out more European teams in the process.
No, you're right. But, no, damn it. Why can I not? Right when I need a freaking... Oh, there it is. The bracket. I can't... okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
I got the up in front of me.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing, right? Is like... Mm-hmm. If Colombia had wound up on the other side of the bracket, you could have potentially had a whole South American, fight to the final.
Hey,
go ahead.
As much as everybody's like, oh, it's all South American and European teams and this and that, had the bracket shaped up like that, I would not have complained. It's like, all right, you're facing each other, you're facing each other. Choose your weapons, 10 paces, fight to the death.
Yeah, so and you also could wind up with some historic matchups in Argentina and Uruguay, who don't like each other unless trying to host a tournament is involved. Then they'll deal with each other. But Argentina and Uruguay did not like each other.
No,
you have, if Brazil can get by, you presume Belgium. That's not a total guarantee. You have a potential, another historic, either Brazil-Uruguay or Brazil-Argentina, if they get by their opponents. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's annoying me because my final is now a quarterfinal.
Right.
And my third place match would be a quarterfinal. But if Uruguay and Argentina both hold up their end of the bargain, everybody talked about those Messi versus Suarez commercials. Well, damn it, you'll finally have it.
Yeah, and you'll have Neymar versus Messi possibly, too.
God, I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, think about that. The semifinal of Brazil-Argentina, or Brazil-Uruguay. I mean, that's insane. Now, the other side, obviously, let's not count out that there's a possibility Mexico could make the upset, get to that quinto partido finally. Mm-hmm. Or, maybe Japan pulls it out of the hat. Who knows? But, man, it does seem like long odds at this point. I mean, Portugal, certainly. I just feel like Uruguay is set up with a perfect matchup where they can frustrate Ronaldo to no end.
Yeah.
get a sneaky goal and just defend and do whatever. France is really going to have to show against Argentina. I feel like Messi's going to know this is his shot. Like, okay, you know, we fought to the death. We won that one. I think this is going to inspire them, and you know, we could see Argentina win. But again, maybe France just need, you know, maybe they haven't just turned that switch on yet. Who knows?
But you don't want to leave it too late. I mean,
right.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of pressure like you did back in '02, but I mean, you still got your stars. You still got your Conte, your Mbappe, your Griezmann, your Pogba. It's like, you're going to have to learn to play together at some point.
No, you're right about that. I think Spain has a very good shot here of getting all the way to the final, but I think you don't want to crown out Croatia the way they played, getting out of the group that they did, finishing first. I'm sorry, Russia, but Spain is made to destroy them. I just don't see it with Russia.
Russia did their job of getting to the knockout round. They've done their job. Now it's up to Spain to do their job and say, hey, we're closer to 2010 than we were 2014.
Yeah, the Modric and Eriksen matchup, that's going to be tasty, to which midfield talisman can get their team through. Switzerland and Sweden might be very drab, or it might be really interesting. I kind of want Switzerland to win because I feel like they've been a little bit of a better team, and they have some guys that you know can score if you need to, plus the keeper and Sommer that can make some fantastic saves.
Mm-hmm.
Colombia, England could be very fun as well.
Colombia and England, I expect to see a lot more higher scoring, and it wouldn't surprise me if Colombia kind of continues England's woes and keep going, but if I'm pointing out one match to go to extra time out of any of these, mainly because there's parts of me that can't decide between a Swiss Army knife and the Swedish national bikini team, Sweden-Switzerland could be decided in 120.
Yeah, but my idea of England getting to the semifinals, if they can get by Colombia, man, it's there for them. It's
Easily.
there for them. You play Switzerland or Sweden, I mean, and depending on, you know, who gets out on the other side, maybe you have the ultimate matchup against Spain, or maybe you get a Croatia Denmark, and geez, you know, think about that. England Navy in the final.
Yeah, for the first time. Oh dear Lord, I would not be able to go on YouTube, Twitter. God, everybody that does Football Manager would be flipping their collective tables if that were to happen.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, let's see. I mean, it's also there for Colombia as well. They can get by England. I think that whoever wins that game, yeah, look out.
I don't know, bro. I mean, from what I've heard, some good cocaine goes great with Russian vodka. So let's see what happens.
Nice. Nice one.
I mean, if Colombia were to get to the final, you can't lie, it would be the ultimate party.
It certainly would. I mean, especially at my job, there would be plenty of people.
Exactly. You'd have people over there like Red Squaring places up for 3-4 days straight. They wouldn't know what time it was.
Yeah. I mean, it would be a lot of fun just to see that happen. I mean, obviously, you know, anything where the Latin team's doing well, which I thought maybe we're going to see a lot more of them eliminated, but I think that that's a positive that Costa Rica, Panama, you know, they kind of expected them to go out, but the rest of them pretty much survived. So
one more little bit of salt in the wound. You take away Mexico and their performances. the teams that participated in the World Cup in lieu of the U.S., Costa Rica, Panama, and yes, Australia. Look at their collective records. I'm just saying.
Yep, at least Australia was still technically in it to the last day. But,
Mathematically, but realistically.
And Mexico should have been eliminated if Germany was better. So think about that. But hey, look, again, sometimes all you need is a little bit of luck. You play Brazil. Let's see what happens. But yeah, so after Friday, you get straight all day, everyday games from the 30th, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Go celebrate on 4th of July. You know, have a good come down on the 5th, and then you get the quarterfinals on the 6th and 7th. And, hey, see what happens. Right?
This is where the fun begins. 4 days of some of the best soccer on the planet. Then you get a Wednesday off to get drunk and shoot things into the sky and eat a bunch of hot dogs. Then you get a break. Then you get even better soccer. Really, you can't lose next week.
At least you hope, anyway, that it goes that way. There's sometimes where some of the games are so tight that they aren't that good, but let's hope for the best.
I mean, as is, we're at about, 107, 108 goals, give or take, in this tournament?
Right.
We're on still slightly less of a pace now, but this is going to go down as one of the highest scoring tournaments of all time. And if you get some freak results in the knockout stages, you could easily start to threaten that record. You never know.
Yeah, you could. So, there's a lot to look forward to. Like you said, lots of really tasty matchups. I don't think that there's a bad one in the bunch. I mean, Spain could blow out Russia, but I think other than that, I think you're guaranteed at least either something feisty or something really good or, come down to the end. I mean, I think I shouldn't totally count out Russia because they are going to have the home field advantage, but we'll see how much of an advantage that is. And yeah, just get ready, folks. You're going to have some really fun soccer coming your way after Friday. And I just hate that I have to go through the first one at work. But let's hope that things go right way and I can watch most of it. And then I get the 2 days off for the other games. And Tuesday, right back to work for that last set. And I think the rest of the way, except for the final, which obviously, happens when it happens, got to be at work for those too. So
yeah, because games are at like 10 a.m. Eastern and 2 o'clock Eastern, and
right.
I'm actually going to be tutoring Saturday, so not going to be looking at my phone or anything for spoilers for that one, but the rest, yes, I will be in front of some sort of device.
We'll see how that goes, and you know what? You want to do a re-pick of what's here? Why not? Right? It's the end.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing a re-pick. I need a mulligan on a couple of my matchups.
I think Uruguay beats Portugal. I think, like I've said already, they have the perfect team to frustrate Ronaldo. Make it difficult for them. They have Suarez and Cavani. They can make it difficult for that older defense. Granted, Pepe's made some terrific challenges, and so has Rui Patricio on the goalkeeping end. But I just think Uruguay with the coaching experience, I think they get to the quarterfinal. Man, France is really going to have to turn it on in this game against Argentina. It's possible because Argentina is kind of like that Jack of that Joker's Wild, like what the hell are you going to get kind of thing. I think Argentina scores early and maybe they open it up. It gets You get exchanging of some goals, but Argentina winds up winning, and you set up a fantastic South American barn burner between Uruguay and Argentina. I think Brazil's going to wind up handling Mexico. I'm sorry if that's going to upset some Mexico fans, but honestly, I feel like Neymar has grown as the tournament's gone on. Coutinho has been fantastic. And Alisson has been awesome on the defense, on the goalkeeping end. And let's not forget, the 6 that are in front of Alisson have been absolutely wonderful. And that's going to be hard to beat for Mexico. I'm going to go ahead. Man, I want Japan to pull the upset so bad just because, again, love all things Japan. But I think Belgium is... They've been playing... I mean, granted, they had a lot of changes against England, so I don't know how much you could take out of that game. But they've been playing really well. I expect them to beat Japan. That's the... Spain, I think, beats Russia. Maybe it's a bit closer than I'm saying because it's Russia and they're the home team, but I think Spain wins that one. Croatia, with the way Modric has been playing in that midfield, I think that's going to be too much for Eriksen. The way Denmark plays, I think, is built for Croatia to deal with. Croatia gets through. I feel like Sweden wound up topping that group, but I think Switzerland were kind of unlucky not to be fighting for that as well with Brazil. Switzerland, for me, are a bit better defensively. They have guys that can actually, you feel like you can count on them to attack, and Xhaka and Shaqiri, as well as Zermic and John Sommer, the terrific goalkeeper that he's been. You got to look at that as well. I think Switzerland. Oh, this one's so hard because I hate saying this for my Colombian friends. I really do, but I feel like England's been really good. And if John Stones is okay after that knock that he suffered in the game against Belgium, I think they're going to wind up beating Colombia. Especially, we got to pay attention to the way James went out in that game against Senegal. If any of that lingers at all, they got a little bit of time to rest, but if any of that lingers at all, man, you really got to give the edge to England. I think England beats whoever gets out of Sweden, Switzerland. I had Switzerland, so I'm going to say England beats Switzerland. Just, again, whether it's a 1-0 or whatever, I think Harry Kane's going to get that goal. You know what? I think Croatia is going to upset Spain. I think Croatia gets the upset on Spain, the way they've been playing. I like their defensive setup a bit better than Spain. Yeah, so I'm going to put an England-Croatia in that final. I'm going to say Brazil keeps going, goes against Belgium. I had them winning it all. I don't think anything's changed for me and them going through there. This one's so hard, but I feel like Uruguay is going to beat Argentina. I feel like the magical run for Messi ends here with Uruguay. Again, I just like their team more. I trust their defense more. I just don't. Mascherano's he's flipped that switch and looked young again. But if they're going to have some upfront rows, I think that plays into Uruguay. Oh, Brazil, Uruguay again, my God. That one's hard. I think. But I'm going to go with Brazil there. I'm going to go with England in the semifinal, and the other beating Croatia
match.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm still going to have Brazil winning it all, defeating England.
Well, see, with me, I'm tempted to agree with you in a lot of those. For the left side of my bracket, Uruguay will face Argentina. We're going to get that Messi Suarez. I'm going to stick with my gut and stick with my previous prediction. Argentina wins to get to the semis. For the other one, yes, Brazil, as I said in the chat off air, se queda en el curso del quinto partido para el Tri. I'm sorry, but no. It's going to be a thriller. Mexico's going to do great, but Brazil is still Brazil. Mexico is not there yet. I see Brazil facing Belgium. I'm going to stick with that upset. I had these as a semi or as a final and the third place matchup. Now I get to make them as quarterfinals. Argentina is going to face Belgium in the semis.
All right.
As far as who wins, I think because of Messi, I think because of the presence of Maradona, and I also think because Ronaldo will be out, he is going to will Argentina to win that one. Get to the final, send Belgium to third. On the right-hand side, Spain, I'm going to give Russia credit, but I think Spain realizes we've got a little bit more talent. We've got a little bit more attacking. I see them winning, also facing Croatia. That's going to create some tasty matchups because with Denmark, yes, even with Eriksson, I think they're going to rely too much on defense. And I think Croatia is tenacious enough to where they will break them down. I too have England beating Colombia because of the levels of firepower. I see them facing Switzerland in the quarters because Sweden, while they're good, they tended to be a little bit lucky at times, where Switzerland, after that draw against Brazil, they just had a lot of confidence and they grew better in the final third as time went on. Semis, Spain winning, again, because of their potent attack, and I really think their midfield is going to get way more involved and create deadlier counters. England, I also see winning. Harry Kane continuing to step up and cement his golden boot race. Oh, to get to the final. You know what? I'm going to join you because I don't want to see a repeat of the England-Belgium match. England advances in a squeaker to get to the final, creating a wonderful rematch of the 86 quarters with the Hand of God. Talk about history with that one. And third place match, I still see Belgium winning, beating Spain. They will still have a lot more confidence, and they're going to want to go out with pride, whereas they don't see Spain caring much. And Argentina breaks the curse. Messi finally gets the trophy. Argentina beats England in the final.
Wow. Maradona will love that. He can replay the Hand of God.
Exactly. Now, granted, don't go and having yourself be on the verge of another heart attack. You gotta live to see this one, Diego. And don't go giving fans the finger either. You're more awesome than that. But that we're going to see a little bit of history as that happens, and Falkland Islands, just shut up. Just shut up, shut up, shut up. You don't want to start anything.
For sure. I mean, hey, what do you feel is going to be the new final and I have Croatia finishing third, by the way, beating Uruguay, I guess it would have been. So, I think it's going to be a fun few days to figure out who gets through the quarterfinals and all that. Upsets could happen. That's what's great about the World Cup. I don't know, I kind of really want it to go the way we've been talking about, but let's see. You never know. That quinto partido is out there for Mexico if they can really get past the demon that is South American teams, basically, what it's been like for them. So if it's not Argentina, it's in Brazil or whatnot. But again, let us know what you think is your bracket now after we know what the group stage is. And we'll be back on Saturday night at some point, maybe Saturday night, Sunday morning, discussing those first two, Uruguay, Portugal, France, Argentina, and then looking ahead to the Spain, Russia, and Croatia, Denmark. I'm sure Rachel will be biting her nails at frickin' 10 a.m. with every movement of what happens between Spain and Russia. So you'll have that to look forward to as well. But until we're back, please hit subscribe, Soccer to the Max. There's still quite a few World Cup shows to go through. If you're not a big fan of the American side of soccer, hey, you can still listen to hear us talk about things. We still talk about international stuff, and of course, whenever the U.S. men's and U.S. women's play, of course, we'll be talking about the Women's World Cup around this time next year. So, that's always a great time to get back into things. If you enjoy the women's side of the game, we also cover NWSL, which is, of course, one of the biggest leagues for all the women. So check that out. Check out Rachel's stuff on Last Word on Soccer. She does a fantastic job over there. And until we're back again, we'll see you later, everybody.
Peace.